Okay, today is Monday, 8th of July 2024. Air temperature 33 degrees centigrade, about 91 Fahrenheit, and the sun is shining. In fact, now it's got very hot, so I put a bit of shade cloth over the top just to try and reduce temperatures in the tubs or keep temperatures below 30 degrees centigrade. They get sun, as you can see now, but in the really middle of the day, when the sun is very, very strong, they get a bit of shade. So let me go and sit down, because as usual I'm just going to talk. So I'll sit down and have a look at the MEDAKA. Let's see how they're doing in here. Now, about 4 weeks ago, I posted a video about high rainfall, low pH equals dead fish, which described how it had very high rainfall over a couple of weeks, substantially reduced the pH in my tubs, and so the goldfish, the MEDAKA, were not feeling very happy in low pH water quality. There's a pH crash in my pond and caused the goldfish to die. So I'll recap what happened. My pH is numbered between 1 and 14, which indicates if a substance is either acid or alkaline. pH of 7 is neutral, below 7 is acidic, and above 7 is alkaline. Probably everybody knows that, but I just thought I'd set the scene. Now, MEDAKA are okay in water with a pH of, say, about 6.5 to 8, and usually the water in my tubs and pond is at about 6.8, and the MEDAKA are happy and healthy. But the rain in my area has a pH of about 5, which is relatively acidic. So when there's continuous very heavy rain over a period of time, it dumps a large quantity of acidic pH rain into my tubs and pond, and the water there often falls from a pH of 6.8 down to below 6. And consequently, MEDAKA are unhappy, and the goldfish, who have a stronger preference for alkaline water, may have their health damaged, and in my case, they died. So just moved along to look at some of my other MEDAKA, who seem to be very happy, producing lots of eggs at the moment, even though the temperature is high. Now, I'm going to ramble on about how I've tried to deal with this problem of the rain causing a drop in pH in the water. I'm not a scientist. My explanation is probably very simplistic, maybe not entirely correct, but this is how I understand it. Now, the problem in my area is because the water is very soft. So probably everybody knows soft or hard water is defined by the amount of minerals like carbonates and magnesium dissolved in the water. Very soft water like mine has almost zero minerals. Very hard water has a lot of minerals like carbonates and magnesium. Now, if I had hard water, I wouldn't have so much of a problem, because the carbonates in the hard water would if you like, interact with the acidic rain, and if you like, neutralize or buffer the acidity, which means that water would not become quite so acidic with this addition of the rain, and the pH would not fall so much or so fast. However, I mean, my water's very soft with almost zero carbonates. Well, you measure the amount of carbonates by a KH scale, and the test of my tap water usually indicates KH is 0. So I've got 0 carbonates in the water, so there's nothing in the tubs or the pond water to neutralize or buffer the acidic rain. And the water in the tubs and pond turns more and more acidic with the increase in the amount of rain dumped in them, and the pH of the water falls rapidly, which is, if you like a pH shock, and the MEDAKA become unhappy. So I need to make my water harder by adding carbohydrates, so it gives the water some buffering capacity. Usually it means adding some type of calcium carbonate to do this, which calcium carbonate slowly dissolves in the water. I think often it's recommended you use crushed coral and add it to the substrate and or the filter. But I don't have easy access to crushed coral, so I improvised, and I used some, what you can see here, these are white, I think they're limestone chips, which are used maybe landscaping or in plant pots, and also there's a cuttlefish bone, looks like this. So those are the two sources of calcium carbonate I've been using. I think the marble chips or limestone chips will dissolve slowly. Maybe the cuttlefish bone will dissolve more rapidly. Anyway, that's my theory. So about some weeks ago, I had a bag to each of my 40-litre 10-gallon tubs containing 100 grams of these limestone chips and a cuttlefish bone. And if I can find one, remember that, I can show you here. So there's cuttlefish bone, limestone chips in a bag like that, and I put it in each of my tubs. Sometimes instead of laying eggs on the spawning moth, females will lay eggs on that bag, but never mind, it's easy enough to see if there are any eggs there. Now, this has made some modest improvement in buffering capacity of the water in the tubs. Before, the KH of the water was 0, which means 0 carbonates, 0 buffering capacity. Now maybe the KH is about 2, which means that at least a bit of buffering capacity against any added acidity from rainfall. Ideally, KH would be, say, 4 to 5 to provide a good buffer, but I doubt I will ever achieve that. I mean, previously, without any of these buffering carbonates, the pH would drop below 6.8 over a period of a week or so, not only from rainfall, but because any biological process like the sponge filter or whatever, that produces acidic conditions. So always the pH will go down even without any rain. So I think if if the water starts becoming more acidic, I think then the carbonate dissolves, if you like, more rapidly, which to provide more buffering. So it's the acidity which causes the carbonate to dissolve. Anyway, and I think then you reach, if you like, a balance between acidity in the water and the carbonates. The only issue I found with this, within a tub with hardly any bioload, the pH increased too much. So I took out the cuttlefish bone and just left the limestone chips, and the pH stabilized reasonably well. So I'll go across and have a look at my pond. So in the pond, which is about 1,000 litres, 250 gallons, I added a bag of 1 kg of the limestone chips to the trickle filter. So if I look in here, you can see some of them here. There are several bags I put in, so there's about one kilogram in there. And again, it's better to add it to a filter. It helps with the dissolving of the limestone chips and releasing carbonates into the water. And the pH has stabilized quite well, even with some rain. When I get the time, I may try and see if I can get a larger buffering capacity by adding another 1 kg bag of limestone chips and monitor the pH level some more. Now, I'll add, in Japan, they tend to use either whole oyster shells or crushed oyster shells like this, which a friend got for me from 100 yen store in Japan, and I did a video on that. These are 200 grams, supposed to be big enough for about maybe 80 litres. Now, sometime I've got 5 bags of that. Again, when I get time, I'll check and see whether the oyster shells are producing better buffering capacity. They might dissolve more easily than limestone chips, I don't know. And I'll just see how it compares. At least, anyway, what I'm doing, I don't think seems to cause any harm to the MEDAKA, and I'll monitor it for a while longer to see if it really has enough of an effect to make it worthwhile continuing. Okay.